Actually, on other programs that I do, I typically tell my co-host going into it, I say radio silence.
Right.
And that's kind of his cue to not talk.
To shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've talked about it before as part of the pre-show banter.
Dude, I'm such a disaster. I can't believe these people deal with me every week.
No, man.
You're so organized and like on top of it. You put all this great stuff together. You do such a good job producing all this.
Organized it together. You know how it has become a running gag that the mic doesn't even work.
Wait, is it on?
All right, don't even.
Did you hit the mute button?
Hang on.
And make sure you click that thing that what Brian said last week, that we had like an echo or something.
Did Brian pick up on
was that Brian or Russ? Someone was telling us we had an echo, and it was terrible.
It wouldn't be the first time. Let's make what Brian said last No. See, we sound great.
Oh, we scored. Yeah,
the
night we actually try to figure it all out. Yeah. Anyway, you do a great job.
Well, no, man.
But you hit the push button on there, and then I just kind of. It's like I'm a drunk man that just is trying to stumble out of a ditch or something.
Oh man! All right, you ready to go ahead and jump into the show, man? Yeah, man.
I will after I light this second breakfast that I'm smoking in my my Davarin tonight.
That's a beautiful pipe.
Davarin Morta, which is my golf club.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that one. All right. As you get ready, I was actually telling John David he's the talent. So if he wanted to, he could like hang out in his trailer and throw a fit if he didn't have all blue M&Ms or something like that.
I'm sorry, but you didn't bring you brought the 81 wild turkey and not the 101.
Look at this. We're getting all this smoke right here. It looks really bad. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I like that.
Hey, that's second breakfast made at the Country Squire.
It smells delicious.
One of our Tolkien themed blends. All right, man, I'm ready.
All right. Oh, well, let me make sure I hit the record button this time.
It might be wise.
Here we go. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Bo.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Bo. Good evening, man.
Man, good evening to you, sir. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's been a full day, man. Really busy here around the old pipe shop and, man, just enjoying it. Yeah, I got my Davarin here, smoking some second breakfast that we make here at the Country Squire. And, we kind of got a nice smoke going in the air. And it looks like you're enjoying some Four Roses here.
Yeah, tell me about this bottle of Four Roses I found at the shop.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. One of our really good listeners, Drew Causey, from Kentucky, came down, and he met up with 7 of his friends that he went to school with, and they're all pastors. They come from all over the world and from all over the country. And once a year, they get together in Jackson, Mississippi, and kind of have this reunion. And it's kind of like you can think of like. Who's the pastor's pastor? Like,
sure.
If you're a pastor, like you probably don't get a lot of pastoring done to you.
Yeah.
And so these guys kind of come together once a year where they can just turn their cell phones off and kind of disconnect a little bit. And they come to Jackson, just kind of minister to each other and just hang out, no pressure, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's really,
awesome.
Really cool. But Drew, in his backyard, basically in the same town that he is in is where Four Roses whiskey is from.
Really?
And also he brought me a bottle of Wild Turkey.
Of course.
But it's this Wild Turkey like premium stuff that I've never seen. You can't get it in Mississippi. So,
all right. Now don't be mad. They make premium wild turkey?
They do. Isn't that like, that's like an oxymoron. No, dude, that's redundant. Are you kidding me? Wild turkey's awesome. I like wild. If you've listened long enough, wild turkey's kind of my jam.
It's bourbon of choice.
Which it's.
I'm not judging.
It's drinkable.
No,
anyway,
no, it's good.
But man, Drew was kind enough to bring us both of these whiskeys that basically made right there in his hometown. We were really tickled to have him. Man, it was so cool too. He brought all his friends in here, and they just kind of rented the shop out for a night, had a really good time, and were able to connect and just really let their guard down, which was a lot of fun. So I was really honored to have them. And if you're ever in the Jackson area and want to rent the Squire out, you're always welcome to. Yeah,
Drew, cheers to you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you so much for this.
Thanks again, brother. I would show my Wild Turkey, but it's at home half empty already. So.
That's all right. Oh man. Well, hey, we've got much to celebrate, my friend, because this is the last episode of Country Squire Radio before the Chicago Pipe Show.
Chicago,
happening town.
Ba ba da ba ba. That's the only Frank Sinatra I know.
And outside of Chicago is the baddest part of town. Technically, it is outside of.
It is, yeah. But man,
It's
it's going to be great. I'm so excited. We're really proud to announce last week. Kind of our role there with the Chicago Pipe Show.
Yeah, man. Of course, we will be there at the This Pipe Life table. Now, this is really cool. We mentioned it last week. When you walk through the doors, you'll be able to see our table. And this was our understanding.
Yeah.
Now, I actually took a look at the map today, and like literally, you walk through the door, we are right there. Like when you in
your face
in the walkway, yeah. So you cannot miss us when you walk into the Chicago Pipe Show. You'll be able to find us right then and there. If for whatever reason you walk past us because you thought we were deeper into the show or something like that, turn around, look for the This Pipe Life table
and the two hobbits
that are behind there with a couple of mics. So, man, it's gonna be a blast. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, excited to introduce This Pipe Life and kind of be a part of its rollout. We'll get to tell you more about it there. Just a really neat online, community lifestyle pipe related stuff that we're really excited to be a part of. But also looking forward to interact with you guys that happen to be there. So we're hoping to get some of you on mic and on camera and and that kind of thing too. So
and look for I should mention this. Look on the follow us on Twitter, keep up with the Facebook during the Chicago Pipe Show. It is our intention to do a live broadcast, similar to the live show that we do every Monday night here. It's our intention to do at least one live show while we're there. Now, when we were in New Orleans, we did a live streaming throughout the entire show. Right. I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure about the quality of our internet connection going into it.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we're going to do the best we can. The folks at Chicago have been, real accommodating, and we look forward to continue working with them. But we will definitely get some good content. Yeah, we're excited.
Now we should also mention this too. I mean, oh man, party!
What a foul! Golly!
Oh man, all part of the live show. That's
how many times have y'all seen Bo spill his drink on air?
There should be a drinking game. That is whenever the mic doesn't work, take a shot, and whenever I spill alcohol, take a shot.
Turkey.
You know what the problem is that I talk with my hands. You're
very animated.
I'm very animated. It doesn't.
Well, you got to get a refill now.
I'm not risking any more of this precious bourbon. All right, there we go.
You klutz.
All right, so we do want to make people aware of the fact that while we're going to be in Chicago, we're planning on getting a number of episodes actually recorded while we're there, which will be really great. We're going to have some great content for you. So even if you don't make it out to the Chicago Pipe Show, check out the podcast and we'll have some great content for you. But in so doing, what that means is the live show for the next couple of weeks,
be on a hiatus.
We'll be on hiatus.
Yeah.
Now the podcast will not. You will have your regularly scheduled podcast for the next couple of weeks coming out every single Wednesday as per usual, nonstop for the last almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever missed a week. Yeah. So
that is thanks to you, my friend.
Well,
because if it were up to me, we would have been like, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of sick.
Hey man, if you weren't willing to be drug out of bed, then it wouldn't have happened either. But I will tell you this. This is kind of just a thought I have. Maybe during that time we might put out some small, quick videos on the YouTube channel. I know you just threw something out there on the live show, and you hate when I do that.
No, it's okay. I know I'm actually laughing because at Ohio Pipe Guy says that you need a sippy cup, and I agree with him.
I agree.
You probably need like some floaties and like a pool noodle and some of those other things too.
A pool noodle for bourbon.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, you can't have too much preparation.
No, this is good. This is good. But no, I was thinking that perhaps, and I don't want to commit to this, but I want to just kind of float this idea. We may do kind of some small videos in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Since we won't have something for the YouTube channel, maybe we can have at least a little something for you. But one way or the other, be following us on Facebook and Twitter for updates in terms of live show from the showroom floor. We really hope to bring a lot of you along with us, even if you can't actually physically be along with us.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to mention this too. So good friends of the show, Beard Core.
Oh man,
and the good folks over at Father the Flame.
Right
now, if you've been listening for a while, this is a documentary that we've been following since we first heard about it, and it's a documentary looking at kind of, I would say, pipe culture, but it's really kind of the industry and the art form of carving pipes, and really very pipe centric, but also just kind of the culture that surrounds pipes and pipe tobacco.
A real high quality documentary style, piece on this.
There will actually be a showing of Father the Flame at the Chicago Pipe Show.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah, no,
I had no idea.
Neither did I.
That's exciting.
I don't know if we need tickets or not. So, Russ, Rush, hook us up.
We're still buddies, right, Rush?
Yeah. So, but one way or the other, we'll definitely be going to that.
Man, that's great.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. But
And
anyway,
I think our friend Brian Levine too is doing a tobacco blending seminar.
It's a blending seminar.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, and Brian, of course, with Matt Barron, USA, and Sutliff Tobaccos, good friend of the show, Pipes Magazine radio show. And, we'd encourage you to check that out as well. So.
Yeah. Pipes Magazine radio, where occasionally he likes to throw some commentary our way about our height. And also, lately, I don't know if you saw this.
What?
He posted a picture up on Twitter. It was a book on the War of the Roses. And he said, "Hey, Bo, when I got to the end, the Yorks lost." Like, just really just rubbing it in. So,
turn the knife, baby.
I guess, you could go to
give
see,
him a lot of ammo though.
Go to see Brian Levine's blending pipe tobacco. I mean, I guess he's just going to figure it out when he gets up there. I don't know.
He'll make one in your honor and it'll have some rose petals in it.
Oh my gosh. Let's hope not. Can you imagine? Can you smoke rose petals?
Actually, I have before. No. Let me qualify this. Master Blender Stephen Books.
Okay.
I don't know how you get the title Master Blender, but I would definitely put Stephen Books in this category.
Okay. All right.
He's in Seattle or Portland. I can't remember, but he's with the House of Calabash. Old school tobacco blender. I kind of like, when I'm an old man, I want to be like him. Like, this is a guy that has been blending tobacco since he was a twinkle in his mother's eye. And you like what I did there?
Pre-show joke.
And the guy knows his stuff. But anyway, he had an aromatic blend. I don't know if it was like a limited release thing or what, but it actually had rose petals in the blend. And I smoked it, and it I smoked it once. Everything else I've smoked of his was fantastic, but
that one,
I wasn't a fan of the rose petal blend. But he went there. Like, he went there.
You could.
He's such a stud in the tobacconist world.
No,
he was like, yeah, I'm gonna use, I'll throw some rose petals in there.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah. So yes, I have smoked rose petals.
Don't ever sign me up for that. That sounds a little. Well, man, we got a great show that we're gonna be talking about tonight. But first, we got to mention our sponsor here at the top of the show.
Sponsor of the evening.
Yes, sir. Eric Stokeby, 4th generation.
That's right.
If you've been tuning in for the last couple of episodes, you've heard us talk about Eric Stokeby, 4th generation. Of course, Stokeby, a tremendous name in the industry. Eric really doing some amazing things right now in hand-carved pipes. He has got a different pipe for these different eras kind of represented in the fourth, in kind of the generational Stokeby name.
That's right.
And so today we're talking about the 1897 pipes. Now, John David, how would you describe those?
Yeah. And, as we've talked over the last few weeks, we kind of have been able to describe some of these pipes as, being traditional style shapes, but with some Danish flair to them. If you're a Stokeby, it would make sense to have a little Danish spin on this. So,
right.
We've got on the 1897 4th generation pipe just a real lovely, kind of a pot shape. You might call it even a billiard to some degree, but it's got just a slight bend to it, and it comes in a variety of finishes: a dark porter sandblast finish, mature orange finish, a natural vintage finish, and a burnt sienna finish, which is really nice. And of course, all of them have stems that are made of the quality acrylic, along with just a real elegant decorative band.
Yeah, that decorative band. I mean, it
sets it apart.
It's pretty consistent throughout his work too, in terms of that band. But ultimately, the pipes that you're going to get from Eric Stokeby, 4th generation, extremely quality stuff here. And the great thing is, along with the 1897 pipes, he also has the 1897 blend, the Eric Paul's blend.
That's right. Eric Paul's blend. I'll read the description. It's an exquisite blend of golden light Virginias, bronze brown Burleys, and steamed black Cavendish. Delivers sweetness and taste derived from a base of vanilla and notes of honey. And it's available in a 40-gram tin and a 100-gram tin. Yeah. So for those of you that might want something that has lots of flavor, but it's going to be just a real nice aromatic.
Yeah. So, awesome products. Be sure to check them out. Eric Stokeby's 4th generation. You can do a Google search, find him. Also, I'm pretty sure Eric's going to be at Chicago. So
yeah, man, I'm excited.
Go up, see him, tell him, hey, nice to meet you. Let him know that you heard about his products on Country Squire Radio. And that would be, that I'm sure that'll bring a smile to his face. Certainly bring a smile to our face.
It will.
So do it.
Thank you for supporting him. And thank you, Eric, for supporting us.
Absolutely. All right, man. So we will be taking a look back at Latakia. Last week we talked about in listener feedback, listener Jeremy Darnell asked a question about Latakia. He says, "I am a Latakia lover and would love for you to expand on the difference between English and Balkan blends."
Yeah. Here we go with the titles, right? and so there's always this kind of purist attitude on like, well, a Balkan blend has this, and it's different from a Scottish blend because it's got this, and an English blend is like this, but it doesn't include these things, and it's like, there's a part of my spirit that just wants to take all these conversations and put them in a little box and then set that box on fire.
A tinderbox.
Yeah. I just kind of want to take all this and, just like collect all the little sweet little conversations we have, dividing up, Balkan and, Oriental and Turkish and all this stuff, and just let it fly away with a dove, it is subjective. And I think, we obviously, there is some elements of the conversation out there where folks, would have a real hard line where they would describe a Balkan blend as very different from an English blend.
Yeah.
And typically when you see those folks, say that, you'll have people say like, well, English blends are just, the focus is on the Latakia. You may have a little Perique, but the focus is on the Latakia, and there's little to no Oriental tobaccos at all. And then, you'll have typically a Virginia base, like just a sweet, natural American Virginia base on that. And then where they kind of take these tangents are with the Oriental blends and Balkan blends and, Turkish tobaccos and things like this. And so you'll kind of have these I'm stumbling here, but I think the main point and where people get this idea of Balkan blends is the popularity of a tobacco that we actually talked about a couple weeks ago on our favorite English blend.
Yeah, top 3 English blends.
Which was Balkan Sobrani. And when you have a name that ubiquitous in the pipe world that has just that strong of a connectedness with a bold Latakia with a few Orientals in there, it just kind of develops its own style. And I think a lot of people point to that as kind of the genesis of the Balkan idea, Balkan blends. But in the Balkans, when we talk about Balkans, a lot of folks aren't aware, like this is Greece, Macedonia, maybe Romania, Albania, kind of that the Balkans. It's where that part of the world, just kind of to the northwest of Turkey, and there are some Orientals that are grown there. And so, the purist might say, well, a Balkan blend is going to be a Latakia blend that features, either a little bit of Latakia or a lot of Latakia, but the Orientals or the Balkan tobaccos there are definitely going to have kind of a forward taste. So, I get to this point, and I my good friend Greg Peace online, he's got, we always refer to his articles and whatnot when we're talking about different tobacco styles, because again, he's one of those guys that I want to be when I grow up too, and and he's just like, what, let's just call them Latakia blends, I mean, come on.
I mean, can we just acknowledge the fact that tobacco names are complicated?
They are.
I mean, like the terminology, it gets a little complicated. Like if we could all like say it's from this region, that'd be great. But then it's like, well, it's from this region originally, but it was sold with this, and then this came in and this rebranded it and everything else. And it's all a mess.
And even English style blends, we talked about English blends, on our top 3 episode with English blends. And even then you think like, well, why did they call them English blends? Well, English blends used to just be, tobaccos that were made and sold in England were just used to be non-aromatic tobaccos, because it was illegal to use any kind of flavoring extracts in your tobaccos in England. So that's why they got the name English blends. Why has that gone now with just Latakia-based blends? I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's maybe the most common, non-aromatic blend that people think of, and so that just kind of became synonymous. But I think broad brushstrokes here, and then we're going to kind of pivot the conversation a little bit. Broad brushstrokes is that an English, a Balkan blend is going to have a little Latakia in it, but the emphasis will be on Balkan or Oriental leaves. That's a very broad brushstroke. Take it for what you will. Is that the same description as other descriptions that might be out there for other types of tobaccos? Probably. But at the end of the day, that's kind of where they go. I do think the blends that I have had that are called Balkan blends, that refer to themselves as Balkan blends, are going to be robust, thick, heavy, naturally sweet, but in a real silky, like smoky, dark way, almost like a dark chocolate. It's not, when you think of English blends that are sweet, you think of a more of a bright Virginia sweetness to it. And even the sweet is in the background. I want to use that word sweet kind of in a muted way, but
Right.
but a Balkan blend is going to have more of a just a richness to it, I think. So at least that's what my typical experience with blends like Balkan Sobrani, Balkan Sassini, and et cetera, et cetera.
But all fall under the category of Latakia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we wanted to kind of use this as an excuse to talk about Latakia a little bit, because we've done episodes on it before. We've done episodes on English blends and Latakia specifically, and kind of how it's developed and all that. But this is a real curious leaf that just has kind of some interesting history, interesting way it's been developed, and also the sources that it comes from. And so we just thought we'd use this as kind of an excuse to dive into that.
Before diving into it, behind us, what would you say is the strongest Latakia blend that you have up here?
Yeah, the one at the Country Squire that we produce here in the shop. Again, all these are our private recipes. We make our blends right here at the store. And the one that we have that has the most Latakia of any of them is called Bowser's Castle. Yeah, Bowser's Castle. It's about 40% Latakia. Is that right? 40 or 50% Latakia. It's a lot of Latakia. I forget.
Man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really smoky. It's one of those that, like, it's you're definitely gonna smell the charcoal and peat moss and things like that when you're trying it. My favorite, if you're a listener to the show regularly, you'll know I don't smoke a ton of Latakia blends. So I don't, these English blends, just it's an occasional thing for me.
Right.
But when I do, my favorite is one that we have in the shop called Baker Street, which has the addition of Perique in it as well. And the Virginias we use in Baker Street are a little more naturally sweet, so you just kind of get a little of that tang balance with the smokiness. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Well, I wanted to ask, because I wanted to get in the right frame of mind here as I took a big whiff of Bowser's Castle, and just remind myself, I think I've mentioned it before, but Bowser's Castle, the person who it is actually named after, a customer in the shop, a good friend of mine, gave me one of his pipes.
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and as
that thing was nasty as sin.
Try as you might to reset it and get it all nice and going. Man, every single time I smoke it, it doesn't matter what's in there. The Latakia, I mean, it's just, I can now, unless I want a good Latakia cut, I can't smoke it. You know what I mean?
Do you think, our friend Briar, he's got him a girlfriend now. Like, do you think when they kiss that she gets like nicotine poisoning?
I don't know that's helping him out too much. Of course, they are both in our live studio audience here. So we're just giving them a hard time.
We love them very much. Yeah. So we, kind of pivoting and talking a little bit about Latakia. What is Latakia? It is, if you're looking for a leaf that will give you just a symphony of flavor, lots of deep complexities that are very, very unique and different from any other leaf in the tobacco world, but will also smell so bad that your wife will be tempted to serve you divorce papers. You have found your leaf in Latakia.
Right.
It is a just a leaf that has so much flavor. And some people love the smell, don't get me wrong, but it's a tobacco that definitely has a very distinct room note to it. So Latakia is named after a port city in Syria. Syria, of course, is a, country just north of Israel and I believe Jordan. And we hear about it in the news a lot now because it's a very war-torn part of the world. There's a lot of, refugees that are, fleeing to places to, try to get out of harm's way over there. And we'll talk about that. That's pertinent to the discussion as well.
Okay, so it's named for that port city.
Yeah, that's right. And and it actually, most people over there are going to, refer to it more as Latakia. That's kind of the pronunciation.
That's the correct pronunciation?
It's I'm butchering it in my southern drawl, but they say Latakia.
Latakia.
And we've got one of my really good friends is from just outside Hong Kong, and I always pick on him how he says Latakia, and it's just here it's Latakia. In America, typically it's Latakia, but
well, wait, hang on. In America, it's Latakia, or in the South, it's Latakia?
Pretty much in America.
Okay,
yeah,
so
almost any American. I've talked to has preferred to use the term Latakia. Yeah.
I'm gonna be a snob and start saying Latakia. No, I'll sound like an
Don't
idiot.
do it. You already got enough feathers you're ruffling. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you and your bowler cap and all this.
That's a good point. Don't want to push it.
You don't want to push your luck. But,
all right, so Latakia. I'm guessing that is actually the name of the city.
That's right.
Okay, Latakia.
That's right. And traditionally, historically, this tobacco was grown, manufactured, produced in Syria, the northern part of Syria, but then also in Cyprus, which of course is a little island in between Syria and Greece, kind of out there in the eastern Mediterranean. And so, most of the Latakia you'll see on the market now today is grown in Cyprus and not in Syria, and that's for a variety of reasons. One, obviously, just the most obvious reason is Syria's got a lot going on right now. It's a very broken part of the world, and just a lot of turmoil and strife politically and otherwise there. So it's hard to export anything from a country like that. But also, interestingly enough, even when in Syria's more put together days, Latakia is cured in a very specific way that uses fire that we'll talk about momentarily.
Right.
And in Syria, one of the woods, these aromatic woods that they burn in this fire to kind of impart this flavor into the Latakia, this wood is essentially, kind of semi-endangered, like the tree species or whatever, because it was over-harvested. And so
for this purpose?
I don't know if it was for this purpose or what, but whatever wood they used to burn in the fires is actually, kind of hard to get. And so a lot of times the Syrian government in the past has tapped the brakes on, producing Latakia because they're trying to protect this hardwood, tree, which I thought was kind of fascinating. But so anyway, you've got Latakia is produced in a fascinating manner. You've got Oriental tobaccos that are sun cured, and then they're once they're dried, they're put in these barns and smoke and fire cured. And there are two different varieties of leaves. There's a different leaf in Syria and a different leaf in Cyprus. You've got in Cyprus the Smyrna leaves, which a lot of folks are very some of people's favorite Oriental tobaccos. The Smyrna tobacco just has a real nice cedary kind of floral flavor to it, really good. In Syria, I'm sure I'm gonna butcher this. It's Sheikh El Birit, and that is the tobacco in Syria that they take and air cure first before they fire and smoke cure. So in Syria, So you'll have kind of two different varieties of flavor even between the Syrian Latakia and the Cyprian Latakia. The Syrian Latakia is going to be much typically seen as much bolder and smokier, whereas the Cyprian is going to be a little more aromatic and kind of I don't know, some might say mellow or something like that.
So if I'm following you, both go through the same process. They're just from a different origin.
That's right. So
different leaf of origin.
Different leaf. Yeah. So both go through the same process though, and so you've got these leaves. They'll be sun dried and cured, but then they take them and put them up in these barns, like in our these big rafters. And there's kind of an interesting legend that goes along with this, that Latakia was actually discovered. We may have talked about this before on the show. We have a lot of conversations. I can't keep up sometimes, but but the legend is that Latakia was basically discovered on accident, and that they had these leaves, the surplus leaves that they put up in the rafters of their barn, one fall. And then, throughout the winter, they, are down there smoking their, their food, making meat with, this and this, cooking.
Yeah.
And then spring comes around and they kind of clean stuff out, and they find all these tobacco leaves up there, and boy, they smell kind of different. Why don't we smoke one? And
like
man,
you do.
Yeah. Like you do. Yeah.
Right.
Like some people do with rose petals. And, and then you, and realize that you're onto something here,
man.
And so, that's kind of how, at least the legend says that's how it's kind of was determined. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
See, now, what if you were to prepare your tobacco, you're aging it and you want to smoke it, but you smoke it by like cooking meat? You know what I mean? Like, why not get back to that original state of getting the smoke from like your lamb and whatnot,
your lamb and your roasted bison or whatever that you've got on
goat meat
on your fire. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, the idea with this is that these smoke particles from this fire. And again, I mentioned in Syria they're using a specific type of indigenous woods there,
Right.
along with spices and other vegetation that they specifically burn in these fires to impart the flavor. In Cyprus, it's a different kind of concoction of things that they use, but how the flavor is getting on there is the smoke particles are actually attaching to the leaves of the tobacco.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're tasting when you're smoking Latakia are these smoke particles that are kind of imparted onto the leaf itself, which
That's
is
so cool.
It's pretty fascinating. Yeah. And it's just, the typical smoky, peppery, peaty, malty flavor that, people kind of, think of with like a barbecue or, campfire, things like that. So,
all right. So again, the two different kind of leaf origins. I know not what are the leaves called again?
You talking about the variety of leaf that is turned into the Latakia? Yeah. You've got in Cyprus, the Cyprian leaf is typically Smyrna, which is it's
a vodka.
Real close.
Right.
Smyrna. But then in Syria, it's I know I'm gonna butcher this. It's Sheikh El Berit.
Sheikh El Berit.
I hope I'm saying that right.
Shaka Khan.
If we have any Syrian listeners, please correct me.
All right, so we got Shaka Khan and Smirnoff. And
right.
They both become.
We are offending so many people tonight. It's just a disaster.
They become Latakia. You mentioned the difference in flavor. I mean, let me ask you: is the difference in flavor such that anyone would notice a difference?
No.
So it's like the John David Coles of the world with your kind of palate.
Well, and I'll be honest, speaking candidly, like a lot of times I have trouble, now again, you're not going to see there is no Syrian Latakia entering the market right now. So I can't just,
it's not readily available.
As a tobacconist at a small pipe shop in the South, like I can't just go order 5 pounds of Syrian Latakia. I get Cyprian all day long, and we use the best here at the Country Squire. We love the stuff that we get, and believe in it. But so the Syrian Latakia that's on the market generally was procured years ago and is slowly introduced into the market into some of these big manufacturers' tobaccos.
Huh, okay.
I know one of my favorite companies, McClelland, which we talk about all the time on Country Squire Radio, but 10, maybe 15 years ago, they just bought a metric boatload, I'll put it that way, of Syrian Latakia. And so you'll see in some of their, I believe, like Wilderness and Three Oaks, there's a whole kind of bevy of tobaccos blends that they have that feature the Syrian Latakia, and they're really special, and people really seek after them. I'll tell you what, too. They're a little more expensive as well, just because of the the scarcity of the leaf.
I'd imagine so.
But anyway, I think just to a couple things in closing.
Yeah.
Latakia, it's one of those leaves that it's a little polarizing. If you're a Latakia fan, you just smoke lots and lots and lots of it. If you're not a Latakia fan, you really don't smoke much of it at all. It's not one of those blends that is just every palate is cut out for. But the thing that I think is most interesting about Latakia, and this is just from a descriptive standpoint, is that as bold and rich as this tobacco is, it's one of the coolest burning tobaccos out there. And so it's so oily and rich, and yet it's so cool on your tongue. It's one of those that just, like, if you get tongue bite from a really well made English blend or Balkan blend or whatever you might want to call it, you were doing something wrong. You know what I mean? It's such a cool burning leaf, and something that, when I'm blending, I personally like to use it a little more sparingly. I like it in the background more. But we have friends like our friend Mr. Bowser himself that like it a little more prominently. So
actually, it's great. Bowser's Castle being the heavy Latakia blend that it is, available online at Country Squire Radio, or Country Squire,
the Country Squire Online,
CountrysquireOnline.com. And I know a lot of listeners have actually tried it out at this point, just because they've heard that it's the Latakia blend.
Yeah,
to beat, so to speak, in terms of the heftiness of the Latakia.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We talked about the we talked about some of the, room note and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Actually, our friend at Ohio Pipe Guy again tweets in. He says, "My wife loves the room note. She says it's a cross between mesquite and leather." And I like that.
That's good. I like
it's
that.
just
Yeah.
filled with mesquite and leather-bound books. Yeah. Hoctor the Love Doctor. No, I'm sorry. He also says his favorite, I believe, is Peter Stokeby, English Luxury number 17, which is good. So Hoctor the Love Doctor comes back and says, only Latakia blend I've bought twice is John Cotton's number 1 by Standard Tobacco of Pennsylvania. And he says, hashtag I am a Virginia man. And I would tend to agree. So
all right.
That is a good tobacco, though.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, good education on Latakia.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Hopefully some folks learned some things there.
I hope so.
If Latakia is such that it's not necessarily for everybody.
That's right.
And given the fact that Latakia can, let's be honest, I don't want to say ruin a pipe, but I'm telling you, this pipe I have has got some heavy Latakia. I can't smoke anything unless it has Latakia in it. That's the only thing I can smoke in that pipe.
You didn't put any blue ribbon or some of that, blueberry stuff in it? Or
Woo! Oh man, that made me sick to my stomach just thinking about that.
Cherry blend and that delicious Latakia pipe.
Oh, it's terrible. Here's the thing: if you want to sample something like Latakia, you're probably not gonna want to go to like your $500 pipe. You're probably gonna want to.
Well, if your $500 pipe is not broken in for blends like that.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. We talk about it all the time when it comes to sampling new tobaccos. What you need is a good corncob pipe, a toolkit. We've called the corncob pipe a toolkit pipe.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just because you got a toolkit corncob pipe doesn't mean it can't be one of the finest, quality, best looking pipes out there.
And we're talking, of course, about the Washington pipe from our friends at Missouri Meerschaum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Missouri Meerschaum makes just absolutely quality corncob pipes. Chances are if you're listening to this podcast and you've been a pipe enthusiast for any stretch of time, you probably have at least one, maybe two, who knows, maybe you're a full-on Missouri Meerschaum collector.
Might have a 7-day set.
Dude, they have got some beautiful pipes. So check it out. The Washington pipe in particular, I always like to say that it's one of those pipes that you look at it and it is what you expect a corncob pipe to look like.
That's right.
But yet so much better quality than anything else on the market. So be sure to check it out. Missouri Meerschaum, we thank the good folks over there. And by the way, if you're going to Chicago, I know they'll be there, and they've got quite the spread.
Yeah, go there. Like, just these are people when you meet them, when you meet the folks at Missouri Meerschaum, like if you don't hug their neck, they might hug yours first. So like
right.
you're just gonna talk to them and like just kind of want to be part of their family. So be sure to interact with them and tell them we said hey.
Yeah, check them out. Yeah, definitely tell them that we said hey. Tell them you heard about them on Country Squire Radio and thank them for supporting this show, and we thank you for supporting them. All right, pipe question of the week. This is kind of a fun one that we're talking about this particular week.
Yeah. I thought that I saw this come in. I thought this was interesting.
Yeah. All right. So this is actually kind of more of a community question. This was asked by Kurt Griffin on the Facebook page. So does anybody have people ask you if you ever have weed in your pipe when they see you smoking your first time? Literally every single person that has seen me smoking for the first time asked me this, and I don't get it. Does anybody else get this response, or is it just me? Now, before I hand this over to you, because I'm sure you get these kind of situations all the time.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
One of the things I think that's probably true for most is regional. Yeah. Right. Here in Mississippi, you get some people that ask you that, but for the most part, when you see somebody smoking a pipe, you kind of tend to believe they're smoking pipe tobacco.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We like to,
we like to think we're a little classy, right?
I don't know. Like, the more you say this and talk about this, I'm thinking behind their backs, they're like, "Oh, y'all need to pray for him. I saw him with a pipe."
Yeah, yeah. You probably deal.
Bless his heart.
I will say this, from my experience, the only time that I've ever had somebody assume that it was anything other than pipe tobacco was the police or the forest rangers out on my birthday. I want to say it was a year ago, and I think I even talked about it on the podcast. I was canoeing with my wife.
Okay.
And just having an absolutely beautiful time. We had pulled over the canoe, had a little lunch, busted out my pipe. And I was trying out a bunch of different chocolate tobaccos at the time, and got back in the canoe. And by the way, we were not supposed to be drinking alcohol. I should say
not that you were.
Well, I won't say if we were or if we're not, but for whatever reason,
you weren't supposed to be.
You weren't supposed to be. We get back in the canoe. We shove off. We get flashed in the woods by, and I mean with a flashlight here, by the
I hope so.
by a couple of rangers, right? And they tell us to kind of come over, so we have to pull off the shore. They're kind of running along the shore trying to keep up with us. And I think, oh man, they must have seen the alcohol. Not that I'm saying that we had any alcohol. I'm just saying if they saw
thought they saw alcohol,
that must have been what they thought they saw. No, sir. They wanted to check my pipe.
That's interesting.
They never checked the cooler. Not that they should have,
but but it's like, can't you just smell pipe tobacco? I don't know, doesn't it? And we have folks, of course, if you've ever bought tobacco at the Country Squire, we have these really neat. Actually, can you hand me one? These really neat little stamps. Just pick one off there. This is a real traditional thing that we do at the shop. We have these maple stamps that are made with the name of the tobacco on it. I'll kind of hold it out there for the live audience. But if you order tobacco from us, your tobacco is stamped with a label that says tobacco tax paid in Mississippi. And honestly, most of that is just for our friends in blue. So they won't give you a hard time.
Well, but see, this particular time, you specifically gave me 3 bags of tobacco with numbers.
Oh, that was to sample them.
Yeah. So there was no paperwork on it.
Just kidding.
And so but that was a unique occasion.
No.
You don't normally do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, while he was like picking them up and opening the bags and smelling them, I was explaining to him like, yeah, no, it's pipe tobacco. I actually host a podcast on pipe tobacco. Are you familiar with podcasting?
Did you try to get him to download?
I did
Satchel
try to get him. No. I think this was. I don't even think Satchel was called Satchel back then. Oh yeah, it may have been. No, I don't think it was. But anyway, one way or the other, he. The funny thing is, once the cop actually did get a whiff of it, he's like, oh man, I used to smoke a pipe. This is like, and then he requested all the other pipes or all the other tobaccos just so he could smell them. He wasn't like checking them anymore. He just wanted to get that whiff. And so anyway, we parted ways. But that was the only time that I've had someone
assume it was something other than
anything
tobacco.
other than tobacco.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't open your cooler. Yeah. We we get this a lot. I'll be honest. Let's be self-aware as pipe smokers. They're not as many of us as there used to be. And there is a very large growing population of pipe smokers, and we're very proud of that. The pipe smokers of today that we've talked about don't look a lot like they did 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a much more enthusiast, hobbyist kind of setup, although you do have tons of us, me included, that are daily smokers that smoke, lots and lots and are always have their pipe in their mouth. But generally out and about, you're just not going to see them as much, and so you will get that, and we get that some here. I think I have to mention, just something that I experience every single day in the shop. And that is, proudly outside our store, we have a little sandwich sign, a little tent sign that says pipes and cigars. And the pipes is in real big red letters. It's right up front. And so we'll have these people. We're right next door to a really nice liquor store and package store, if you will.
Right.
And so folks will see pipes and they'll stumble in and they'll kind of look around, and I can tell maybe they're a little uncomfortable, and then they'll just graciously or gently ask, like, do you have a glass section, like a glass section? And they're asking for glass pipes, and I'm just like, man, it's the one, that's that one customer that I wish, knew when they walked in that, like, we're just not that kind of store. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
We're not judging.
No, we're not.
It's just not what the.
No, it's just not what we do. So, I think you're going to get that a lot, and that's especially with nowadays kind of weed becoming more of an accepted thing. Certainly in some states it's legal already, and it eventually, when hell freezes over, it might even be here, Bo. I don't know. But it's one of those things that I think you'll probably get more and more of that as time goes on. And man, just be proud that you're a tobacco smoker and a tobacco pipe smoker, and tell them so.
Yeah. You got to represent.
Yeah,
helps us all out. All right, well, great question, Kirk Griffin.
Yeah,
and, it's a good community question. I think that one's posted up on the Facebook page. So head over to facebook.com/Country Squire Radio. Share your stories under that one, because we'd love to hear some of them. Quick fire questions.
Bring the heat.
All right. So, I mentioned last week, but Pappy Joe sent us in a few quick fire questions to get us all the way to Chicago.
Yeah.
And yes, sir. In fact, he did. Are you ready?
Yeah, bring them.
Southern biscuits or cornbread?
Biscuits, but that's like a 1A and 1B kind of answer. Like I really like cornbread.
Wait, when What does that mean? 1A,
I'm
1B?
just saying, like they're both tops, you know.
Sure.
But if I have to pick, I'm gonna pick biscuits. I love biscuits. I can make a good biscuit.
It depends on the meal, but like 9.99 times out of 10, I'm
Right.
gonna choose biscuits.
Okay.
In fact, I'm trying to think of when I would actually choose cornbread, and nothing comes to mind.
If you have milk,
If you had milk, that's for the long time listeners.
that's right. It's going way back.
All right, redfish or salmon?
Salmon.
Mm.
Although the Mayflower in Jackson is one of my favorite restaurants. It was opened in 1935. It's a little diner downtown. It's a dive, but they specialize in redfish. When I go there, I always get redfish, but generally salmon.
It's a dive that charges like 3 times more than it probably should.
Oh yeah, it's the most expensive dive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Have you been to the bathroom there? It looks like someone got murdered. It's horrifying.
You remember that one day? do you remember the one day?
I went on a date there last week. It was great.
That's where I went.
But every time I take friends to the Mayflower, I'm always like, yeah, go to the bathroom before.
Don't use the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom before we leave the house.
Man, there was the only time that I can recall going. I think I've only been to that restaurant once, and it was literally right. Like I went straight from there to here.
Yeah.
Right before the Satchel launch.
Yeah.
And we had a very special moment. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I'd forgotten
that. But yeah, cool place. I think salmon generally.
Yeah.
Salmon. It's like lox, right? Lox is salmon.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay,
yeah. I don't eat a lot of that, but yeah, I think that's correct.
Freaking love some lox and bagels, man. I like redfish on a sandwich, but if I had the option of a redfish sandwich or lox and bagels, I'm going to go with lox, so I'm going to go with salmon.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Pure coffee or with chicory?
Chicory,
all
the way.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I in this, I don't know if folks out and about know what chicory is. I think this is kind of a Southern thing, but back. I believe in the 1800s, 19th century in Louisiana, there was a shortage of coffee. And so what they would do is cut it with this root called chicory. And I don't even know what chicory looks like. What I understand, it's a root, but it gives the coffee just this real interesting peppery, spicy taste. It's a bold coffee, and it's one that just has this interesting bold taste to it. And so in the South, there probably the most famous brand that does a chicory coffee is called Community Coffee.
Yeah,
out of Louisiana. And it's well distributed here in Mississippi. We have a lot of that around. That's what I drink every morning. I love it.
I typically only associate chicory with Louisiana. I mean, I know you can get it anywhere, pretty much anywhere, but yeah, I definitely gonna go with chicory as well. And then finally, donuts or beignets?
Beignets, but it's hard to pass up a good donut. But I got to go with beignet.
So my wife is all but forbidden me to eat donuts.
Is that because she wants you to be thin?
Well, let me restate that.
Or
typically, when buying donuts, I pay cash.
Oh, I see where this is going.
No paper trail.
Okay, that's fair.
But I tell the cashier at Krispy Kreme when I hand her the cash that I said, I was like, I don't want a receipt. I don't want a paper trail.
There's no paper.
There's no paper trail. You just, if you want to, just tuck that cash under the counter. That you do what you need to do.
That's hilarious.
I was never here.
Oh, right.
For the most part, I've been pretty good about giving up donuts. But that being said, if given the choice, if I could literally choose and be guilt-free, I would choose donuts every single time. I love beignets.
Yeah.
But
you're a donut guy.
Oh,
my favorite thing to do when I go to New Orleans and eat breakfast is to go to a place that serves cafe au lait and then and also have beignets. But beignets traditionally are served with powdered sugar on top. And so what I do is I kind of knock off some of the excess powdered sugar and I take my plate and I dump all of that into the cafe au lait. And then you just go take a food coma nap somewhere, and it's great.
And then after the caffeine crash,
right?
Yeah. Krispy Kreme has an app that tells you when they're hot now, and it'll ping you to let you know they're hot now, and give you the exact amount of time on how long it would take you to get from your house to the Krispy Kreme.
Oh my gosh,
there's salvation in Christ.
We're entering a new era here in America.
It's a problem.
Amazing.
It's a problem for me.
Wow.
Hello, my name is Bo York.
I'm addicted to Krispy Kreme.
I'm addicted to Krispy Kreme.
Hot
I'm not
donuts.
gonna lie. That's
hot and ready, baby.
you remember when I lost all that weight I stopped eating Krispy Kreme for 3 months.
Oh, that's why some of that's been coming back. No, I'm just kidding. That's funny.
Man. All right. Well, good.
Great questions. Yeah.
Excellent quickfire questions. If you've got some quickfire questions, send them in csr@podastery.com. All right, man. We've got some wonderful listener feedback. We've got some great listener feedback this week. But first, we want to tell you about our final sponsor for this episode. Good friends over at Peter Stokeby Luxury Bullseye Flake.
That's right. That's right. Distributed by Scandinavian Tobacco Group. Luxury Bullseye Flake is one of Stokeby's, longtime favorite tobaccos. It's just a beautiful tobacco, and one of those that you'll have a fun experience every time you light it up, just by tearing it apart to put in your bowl. So, if you're imagining what it looks like, you've got that nice bullseye medallion of tobacco. It's got a real nice lighter outside with that inner Cavendish plug, and just a delicious tobacco. You'll get lots of nice natural flavors with it, and that unsweetened Cavendish in the middle just gives it just a nice softness. So a house favorite here at the Country Squire, and we encourage you to try it out.
Yeah, a lot of fans of the Peter Stokeby Luxury Bullseye Flake. Take a picture of it, show people what we're talking about when we talk about that cool look and feel to it, and tweet that in. We'll retweet it out. And big thanks to the good folks at Lane and STG for supporting this podcast.
If you're not familiar with flake tobaccos like that, and if this is something, this is a tangent, Bo, you'll have to forgive me, but
no, tangents are good.
But the luxury Bullseye Flake and luxury Navy Flake are such good places to start when you're trying to venture into that world. So if it's if you've never really tried flake tobaccos but want kind of a primer, go there. Go to luxury Bullseye Flake, luxury Navy Flake, both made by Stokeby. And that'll give you just a real good. If you don't like those, you probably just won't like flake tobacco.
I thought now. Okay, so this is a tangent.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that a flake, like I didn't think that Bullseye Flake, I guess it is flake, Bullseye Flake.
Yeah.
But it's like a wrapped tobacco.
It is. We're talking about pressed tobaccos here,
okay.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
If you're wanting to venture into that and just try something different, if all you've ever had is ribbon cut tobacco or shag cut chopped tobacco that just looks like what you'd find in a tin on most occasions, give them a shot. I think it'll be a good way to broaden your perspective.
All right, so this comes in from Homesteadonomics. I feel pretty confident about that. Last week we talked about the most interesting man in the world.
We did.
And I put out the call, send in your thoughts.
Are we really about to do this?
On the most interesting man in pipe tobacco. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Cue the music in your head. He smokes his pipe in the pouring rain just because he can. He can smoke balsa wood pipe. He can smoke a balsa wood pipe because he's just that cool. The grand prize of the tobacco leaf lottery is to be John David Cole's pipe. He once sold a pipe to a Savinelli salesman. It was a corn cob. It's brilliant right there.
None of these things have happened.
I'm going to do one more for right now. He once beat a ninja in a throwing star competition using a check tool.
Oh, golly, that's fantastic.
He is John David Cole, the most interesting man in pipe tobacco.
Wow, I'm blushing, and I am really good with the check tool. I'll have to be honest. I could probably defend myself in a fight with the ninja.
He's John David Cole, and he approves this message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Love those. Keep sending them in, guys. That's so great. Next one up on iTunes from JNAF. You want to take that one?
Yeah. We've got JNAF on iTunes. He says, like a long lost friend, I love listening to John David and Bo. They help me to relax after a busy day at work. I appreciate how they approach I'm sorry, I'm stumbling all over the place.
Pod/webcast.
Right. I appreciate how they approach the pod/webcast. They have an ease that makes their listeners feel like they're right there in the shop with them. I get to feel like I'm hanging out with friends and brothers. I'm always sure to have a good laugh to go along with the great conversation. I learn something new every time I listen. As a pipe and tobacco enthusiast, I just don't think it gets better than this. Since I don't have a place like the Country Squire to go, the Country Squire has become my regular virtual hangout these days. These guys are doing more than they know for the pipe community to grow and feel connected. Keep it up, guys. think I can speak for many when I say well done. Jay Naff, man, thank you so much. We appreciate that. We obviously are real passionate about helping to be some of the connective tissue in the pipe world. And man, glad you consider us your virtual hangout and tobacco.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And finally, for tonight, for listener feedback, he's actually been very active, a live listener and live viewer tonight on the old live YouTube channel here. But
that's right.
This is at Ohio Pipe Guy, who tweeted into us this week, said, just about done with the archive. I'm in March 2006. Thank you for helping me through my workday. You guys are my pipe club. And he says, what about the Columbus, Ohio Pipe Show?
Yeah.
And I think I already went ahead and responded to him. I said, it's all about time and money.
It's all about time and money. If you've got lots of both, we'd love to entertain it.
If you got the money, if you can make time, that's if
you got the money, honey. I really don't have the time, but no.
Well, for the right price, maybe we can make the time.
No, man. I've heard incredible things about the Columbus Pipe Show, and it's on my list to get up there in the very near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that being said, we are looking forward to the Chicago Pipe Show.
That's right.
That is coming up, guys. This coming weekend.
I'm getting kind of nervous.
We'll be flying to Chicago, man.
I know.
We've never flown together. Do you get sick?
Did we get seats that were next to each other?
I hope so.
I don't know if I can handle it.
Oh, come on, man.
I have to take some Dramamine or something.
I like to sing flying songs, and we can harmonize.
Are those kind of like your
Some say love, it is a river.
I need a drink.
That drowns the tangerine. Come on, anytime now. Some say love, it is a razor. Come on, man. That calls the soul to bleed.
I know the song, but I don't know the words. So you're just gonna have to. I mean, people are tuning out in droves. I see the numbers dropping it immediately.
Yeah.
Hey, you actually got a good voice. I have to give you props on that. You've gotten credit recently for your British accent and now your voice.
You know what sounds better than just me singing?
What?
Us singing together. A duet.
Nope. Okay. Moving right along. Hey, Bo, why don't we tell these kind folks that are listening to us how they can find us?
Of course, you can check us out, countrysquireradio.com. Like we said at the top of the show, since we're going to Chicago this weekend and gathering a lot of audio there, for the next few weeks, we'll be on hiatus for the live show. That being said, typically, and a couple weeks from now, you'll be able to tune back in at 6:35 45
between 6:30 and 6:45 Central Time.
I think we're a little later than that, but ish. We're big on the ish. But yeah, tune in. You can find us 6:30 ish Central Time. That's 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern at countrysquireradio.com on Monday nights. We'd love for you to join us. We also want to encourage you to subscribe to the show on iTunes, on Satchel, and wherever you can find podcasts. You can find this podcast. You can tweet into us during the week. You can follow me at The Real Bo York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at _Country Squire.
Of course, the show's Twitter handle is at Squire Radio. Be sure to follow that and be on the lookout. We'll be doing periscopes from the Chicago Pipe Show. Guys, we are so excited to go there for the first time ourselves, and we're looking forward to bringing you along with us. So by all means, check it out, join us, and man, Latakia, good show tonight.
Yeah, we had a good time. It's always fun to dive into something that we mention a lot, but don't always necessarily talk about the specifics of. So that's one of those tobaccos that comes up probably every episode that we have. But it's good to dive deep occasionally.
Absolutely. All right, man. Chicago.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude.
All right. Well, in the meantime, let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in for the live show.
That one was fun, man.
That was a blast.
I had a good time. Yeah, that was good. Man, I'm not the only one, apparently, according to our Twitter feed, that needs a drink though. Now, man, you sometimes.
Was that as a relation to me singing?
I'm just saying, Joshua Lay says that you sound like an addict when referring to donuts.
Yeah, accurate. No, I tweeted him back. That's accurate. I got a my name is Bo, and I'm addicted to crystal. I can't go there anymore.
That's great.
I think I have been clean for almost a month now.
That's solid.
That is something, right?
But yeah, so you still have your chip, right? Isn't that how that works?
Oh, there should be chips. I would carry
like a chip. Yeah, you carry a donut chip.
I would carry a donut chip.
Yeah, you have to turn it in.
Yeah.
We got just as a kind of a parting thing, Robert Grissom at Tupelo Burt got a picture of him
so cool.
with his looks like a Legend Missouri Meerschaum corn cob and a luxury Bullseye Flake that he is smoking right now. So props to Robert for tweeting that in. So Yeah, and VARRRJ
Barge
says he will see us on Saturday.
Yes,
So
sir.
It's exciting. Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all soon.
Bye, y'all.